Hello, my friend. Good to see you again. Sit with me and listen to the legend of old Mother Nightshade of Gedney Dyke. Until the middle of the 20th century, the villages of the Lincolnshire Fens were isolated, insular places. Everyone tended to know everyone else, and a stranger in town would be cause for much suspicion and gossip. It was during the early 18th century that an old fen woman who lived in a village of Gedney Dyke became the subject of much gossip and rumour. The old woman lived alone in a cottage on the outskirts of the village. She never had visitors, but the villagers often heard a strange howling coming from her house, and the few village children that had dared sneak up to her window and peek inside had seen the caged jackdaw in the window and the two cats hissing at it. Because of this, the old woman gained a reputation as a witch. The villagers called her Old Mother Nightshade and gave her a wide berth. In the same village was a simple lad named John Culpeper, who had the reputation as a local idiot. Culpeper was in love with Rose Taylor, the most popular girl in Gedney Dyke. Rose, however, repeatedly led the poor youth on before spurning and teasing him, leaving him feeling hurt and humiliated. Culpeper's love turned to hatred. He went to old Mother Nightshade's cottage to ask for help to take his revenge. The old woman welcomed him in and gave him a box of sweetmeats to give to Rose. She then told him he was to report back to her in a few days when the moon was full. John Culpeper did as he was instructed and watched as Rose greedily scoffed down the sweets. When the moon was full, he made his way to the witch's house for further instruction. "Sit down in the chair," old Mother Nightshade bade him, "and close your eyes until I tell you. Soon all will be revealed." John did as he was told, and when his eyes were closed, he felt his arms and legs being fastened to the chair. He waited patiently until he heard the old woman's voice tell him to open his eyes. No sooner had he done so than he let out a terrified scream. Old Mother Nightshade had vanished, and in her place was an enormous grey wolf. It had no tail, but had a hideous snarl which showed deadly dripping fangs. That night the villagers heard blood-curdling cries of terror and agony coming from the witch's cottage, as well as the usual howls and growling. The menfolk of Gedney Dyke all went up to the cottage to investigate in the morning, but all they found were a bloody heap of bones and torn clothing, and wolf's footprints leading away from the house. The villagers buried the remains of the unfortunate John Culpeper, then burnt the cottage to the ground. Nobody ever heard from the old woman again, but to this day, when the moon is full, the people of Gedney Dyke claim they often hear the eerie howling of a wolf. Rose Taylor eventually married a wealthy farmer in Norfolk and spent the rest of her life happily, never giving a thought to the poor simpleton who had loved her. So there you have it. True love never runs smooth. If you enjoyed that story, please like, subscribe and comment below. I hope to see you again soon, but beware the full moon and don't stray off the path.